clip.
Oh.
Missed the mark, Jeff.
No, I didn't. It's been going.
Oh!
DKs. Anyway, welcome to the Nothing of Value podcast, where we try to figure shit out long before we actually start recording, and fail
we
every
did
time.
not very well this time, but
So we have some. We have a very. Last week we did a show that was not particularly MCU focused, if you recall. It was pretty well.
It talked a little bit of the Captain Marvel controversy, but that was it.
Yeah, that's it. Like we were pretty diverse. But this week it's pretty much going to be all that because we have some big news.
You have to make up for time, right?
Yeah, we have some big news, and we're right in between Captain Marvel's opening week and the new Avengers trailer, which we'll be discussing, and some big news just broke 4 hours ago.
Yeah.
James Gunn has been reinstated as the director of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Release date undetermined. But anyway,
Thoughts, Doug?
I'm happy because that means we're actually going to see the trilogy come off. James Gunn, he's good at what he does, and everyone was happy to work with him, which means I can be assured that I'm going to get a damn good Guardians 3.
yeah.
What this actually means is he is the first person in recent history to take down Disney.
That's
Disney
right.
folded to Gunn.
That's right. They did. They were
Well,
like,
they
you know
folded
what?
to Bethesda, or not Bethesda, Batista. Who?
Bethesda.
No, but like it wasn't just Batista though. That
Oh,
It was
did
the
yeah,
whole,
it.
they all-
Like,
the whole cast.
the
really.
whole cast was against it and stuff, but he is the only person. And like Disney's press release about it was like, you know, how he handled himself very well and with class after the firing, and so that kind of softened their view towards him. It was like it was very political.
Yeah.
And
Well, Disney can't lose face, but they also can't be like, oh, I guess we fucked up.
no,
You know, I have
but,
a theory.
but Disney's such a powerhouse in Hollywood now, like way bigger than every other.
Yep.
Yeah, no, we did the stats.
So it's like it's
recently.
kind of one of
Yeah.
those things that if you piss Disney off, you're almost blackballed in the industry.
This year,
Unfortunately.
And so this is the first time where Disney's essentially blackballed someone, and
it did work.
he's come back from it.
Yep. Because DC was like, okay, well, Suicide Squad 2. And then Marvel's like, oh, shit. All right.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to
What do
give
we do
away.
now?
I mean, they pretty much have already sunk DC. Don't give them the thing that might unsink
I
them.
wouldn't say that.
DC's okay. Like I don't go see DC movies.
This is a Batman lover, and if another
Easy,
Batman
man.
was to come out, he'd probably turn it down.
No, okay. So let's
this
contextualize that a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and by saying that the DC universe has improved in recent years.
Sure.
with like only the last 3 movies,
Right, but it's getting there.
and only because they're taking on more of a lighthearted Marvel thing, and
are.
they've like eliminated Snyder.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? Like, if you take a Marvel director, you're gonna get a Marvel film,
Yeah.
and you're gonna get a successful film,
Yeah.
which means it's competition. So you're just like, oh, maybe I'll bring the guy back who might actually save their franchise.
Yep. But I have a theory about this whole Disney thing. I think that Disney took James Gunn's side, and this is a crackpot conspiracy theory, so don't give it any weight because I'm
All
pretty
right.
sure it's wrong.
Get your tinfoil hat out.
Yeah,
Doug.
but here's what I think. They took him aside originally when the controversies first broke, and they said, James, look, on the surface, we have to fire you. But this movie's not due out for another couple of years, so we'll just kick you out for 6 months so we look like the good guys standing up for social justice, but then we'll hire you back once everything's blown over and people aren't paying as much attention. And
I mean, let's
That's
go
where
to
it
the
stands.
next
I mean
thing.
that's
It's plausible.
it's
and
plausible. It's generally how better business works.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right, like where, or at least upper level business.
yeah,
Like I've always heard that like when you're going to an extremely rich person who's an investor and stuff like this, and you make him sign a non-disclosure agreement, he already knows your product is shit,
yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that you're
Yep.
an amateur, and that's the end of it.
Yep.
If you can't
So
talk about
it's
it,
one of those
probably
things that like that might have happened.
Yeah.
Do I think it really happened? I think what
Well-
it was I think who was it? The president of Disney. His last name starts with a Y.
Bob Iger is the president of Disney.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
he had an issue with it, was forced to do that, and then over time, because of the controversy it's
Blowback.
caused and the blowback, he's had to kind of soften his view on it.
Yeah.
Is
No,
there any script
And that's
writing
why
issues on that?
he got all political about like, oh well, James Gunn handled himself very well. It's shown that he's changed.
Well, the whole with the issue with the script is that it had already been written and submitted and was still going to be used. So James Gunn was still going to be on the credits as the screenwriter.
Because I was gonna
So,
say,
that
like, if
didn't
they were
change.
having problems with the script, maybe this was a way to buy time without actually doing
No,
much.
You know
the
what?
script was done and stamped.
Well,
and
that, I
sealed
mean, if it was,
long
if it was,
ago.
but if it wasn't, this should be their easiest way to be like, no, we're not fudging the Marvel timelines. We just don't have a director right now.
Although, to add to Jeff's point, Jeff's conspiracy theory is that Gunn has known about this and Disney's already rehired him back months in advance.
Yeah.
This is just when it's become public.
Yeah.
So this happened probably 6 months ago,
Probably.
Yeah.
like October or whatever.
Yeah.
And now it's finally public.
Yep. Marvel is really just a massive cash cow for Disney. So I really
Yeah.
don't think they want to rock that boat if they can
Not
afford
too
not
hard. Not too hard. I
Yeah.
mean, they'll rock it if they have to, obviously, but they're not going to leave it rocking too hard.
to. Like Disney is going to be in line for a massive year in 2019. It's going to be their biggest one yet, but the box office, simply on account of, even if you don't count the 3 Marvel films coming out this year, you've still got Frozen 2, Dumbo, Aladdin, and Lion King. All within
Dumbo,
one
Aladdin,
calendar
and
year.
Lion King, I'm still not on board with.
Yeah.
Frozen 2, it seems like
Frozen.
they're
Yeah.
bringing it out just so that you can forget about Dumbo 2 and Aladdin.
Well, Aladdin is going to be a shit show.
You know what? I saw the second trailer. I was a little bit more convinced that it might work because
I'm
they-
still terribly skeptical.
they de-blued Will Smith. There are some scenes where he just appears like Will Smith.
Yeah, he's tweeted why he's like that. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
when the genie's in disguise
Yeah.
or among the public, he's
Yeah.
just a regular
Just a
person.
regular dude. So I don't know. I'm going to reserve judgment.
Sure.
It was
But I'm not going in with like Endgame expectations.
no,
right? Like
but they'll make a lot of money. Is my point.
Oh
No, but like
they'll-
there's so many characters you got to take into account in the Aladdin franchise.
Yeah.
Apu the monkey, who
Yeah.
is comic relief, the carpet, who is also comic relief. Like the 3 of them and the 2 of them and Robin
Yeah.
Williams made like the trio of comedy in that movie.
Well, there was
Then
also
you've got-
Iago and
Yeah, Iago, like what's his name, who does the voice?
Gilbert Godfrey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't replace Gilbert Gottfried easily.
No, you really can't, and that's what are they gonna do, right? Like, there's a
Well,
lot of
Disney would never take Gilbert Godfrey back.
No, of course not. Oh my God, no! You kidding me? And then he walks up to the girl and he fists her right in public, and her vagina is bleeding
Well,
and her
there's
ass is bleeding.
There's also that meltdown that happened in like Tokyo or something at one of
Yeah.
the nuclear power plants, and then there was like a tsunami that happened,
Yeah,
and he made fun of that. And
when he's like, I was sorry I was a little late for the roast. My plane had a connecting flight at the World Trade Center.
oh man, oh Gilbert.
Yeah, but anyway, of course.
Like, yeah, like, I don't know. I grew up with the animated version, the live action version.
I'm not saying they're going to be any good. I'm just saying they're going to make a lot of money. They're going
They're
to
not
make a
gonna
lot
make
of
Beauty
money.
and
Dumbo looks weird.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when you see the images of Dumbo,
Yeah.
the live action one that has like Colin Farrell as like one of the leads in the
Yeah, like
movie.
they're not gonna make Beauty and the Beast money. They'll probably make
No.
like
No, Dumbo
Jungle
especially.
Book money.
Dumbo especially is looking like it's going to be the worst of the 3.
Yeah.
But it'll still make easily $200 million.
Well, ultimately, it's like it's got a weak storyline in modern day.
yeah.
Like it just doesn't hold up.
It's
No.
the Ugly Duckling story. Hooray!
But
Yeah.
when you add to that, back to the original point, when you add to that, you got the 9th Star Wars movie coming out.
Is that coming out this year?
Yeah, December. It's a Christmas movie.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
It'll round out the year.
But you know what? There's going to be a select cadre of people who will die for it, but I don't think you're going to find as many fringe
No,
But my
it'll
point is
still,
that-
it'll still get up there in terms
Oh,
of
it'll-
Yeah,
the
it'll
super
still make
make
$1.5 billion globally, no problem.
Sure.
Standing on its fucking head, even if it's terrible.
Yeah.
And then,
Oh, I
of course,
know.
you got the 3 Marvel films. In addition to that, it's going to be a big year for Disney. They're going to dominate the box office left and right.
again.
Yeah.
Are they actually? No, there should be one. Okay, they have Captain Marvel, Endgame, and Far From Home.
Yeah.
Are those the only three?
Those are the only
For
three.
Marvel.
Really?
Right now, Marvel's on a 3 per year schedule. So if you look at the calendar, it's been March, April-ish, May, like in that range, like end of April, and then
like
late
November?
June, early July, every single year. 3 movies. And they skip the Christmas season, which I think is a big mistake. If they're worried about super saturating the market, they really don't have to be.
No,
Like,
but at the same
man.
time, they're leaving their December open because they know that they've got the Star
Of
Wars
course.
in there, right?
Yeah.
Like, why are you going to try and put 2 giant films that are going to each take $1 billion on their own
No, you're right.
against each other?
But I
right?
think those days are over.
No, but like
don't
also,
think
it's
so.
one of those things
You mean
that Disney is such a powerhouse that they pick the weekends.
Yeah.
And
They do, actually. So there's a story about that. Quentin Tarantino, when The Hateful Eight debuted, there was this particular theater he wanted to debut the film in because of it's a certain type of theater, basically, that was perfect for his movie that was shot in a certain way, using a certain film. I think he was 72 millimeter film or something like that. It was like really old school. And this one theater in Los Angeles is where he wanted to premiere it, but Disney wouldn't let him do it. They basically bullied the theater into showing their film instead of his. I don't remember what movie it was, but he went on Howard Stern and bitched about it. And eventually the decision was reversed because Howard Stern is particularly influential. So he, on air, Howard Stern personally appealed to Bob Iger. He was like, Bob, let him play his fucking movie. Just fuck off. And then they acquiesced.
Yeah.
But that's what it took. It took like Howard Stern going to bat for Quentin Tarantino, two of the biggest celebrities of the last 50 years that have, you would not think that they would have any problem throwing their own weight around. But
again,
that's what it took to get Disney to bow down. So
that's the problem with the House of Mouse, right?
Yeah.
They've got you left, right, and center.
yeah.
What can Quentin Tarantino do?
But quality of movies aside, it's going to be a big year. And I think Star Wars, now that Star Wars is going to be taking a break for a while, according to Disney, I think that we will see a 4th Marvel movie on Christmas time from 2020 onward. They got a lot to do.
Again, it depends on what Disney elsewise is going to throw into the.
they're
mix,
going to start
right?
their streaming service.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's why. Like, they're not really going to take a break from Star Wars. They're just going to move platforms. They're
Yeah.
also not going to
Well-
really take a break from Marvel. They're just moving platforms for like B/C level characters.
Yep.
Well, I mean, Star Wars isn't really going to take a break because they're just going to focus on the animated stuff.
Yeah.
Star Wars Rebels, Star Wars this, Star Wars that.
Oh, Star Wars never takes a legitimate break, but from the films they will. At least from what I heard, it's going to be a couple of years.
Yeah,
I was
and
reading the news.
the issue at hand is they've oversaturated their own market because everyone's already burned out, even though it's only been 2 movies.
It's not really that. It's just okay. So it's because Solo just did mediocre. When Rogue One came out, that was like amazing.
Sure, because
And then
it was
Solo-
something new.
But like Solo was kind of one of those movies that no one was completely on board with it to begin with. Whereas like
Nobody
'cause-
cared about, nobody asked for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like The Mandalorian. I have no idea if that's even going to be
I think it's going to be great. Like
It could be.
I'll tell you why it's going to be great. It's going to be great because it has the guy that played Oberon in Game of Thrones.
Does it?
He was the Red Viper of Dawn when he was fighting the
okay.
mountain and the mountain crushed his skull.
Okay.
He is playing the Mandalorian.
Oh.
Okay. But like that aside, it's because it's a fresh story,
Yeah, and that's the
right?
thing.
Star Wars for the past few generations have been like the galaxy has been keeping up with the Skywalkers.
Yeah, it's the same 6 characters over and over again.
right.
Now we're down to 4. Like
No, but like that aside, it's going to be a fresh new story. Rogue
Yeah.
One, fresh new story.
Yeah.
And then it kind of had like a hint of Darth Vader, like
Yep.
near the end, doing stuff, and everyone was like, "This is amazing."
Yeah,
And
no,
then
no, no. I
Solo is
agree.
one of those characters that, like, especially Han Solo, it should be a hands-off character. You know, you don't mess with that because he's so iconic,
Yeah.
and Disney went and messed with it,
Exactly.
and they
There's no
Fucking
reason
Disney.
to.
and they went and that's what all the blowback was.
But I mean, the major problem is, as you said, we need new stories. The trouble is Disney hasn't written any, and they probably won't for a while.
I genuinely think, as someone who does not consider themselves among Star Wars fans, I think that the source material is a little limiting. And that's
Well,
part of the problem.
Again, it depends on where you want to go with "quote unquote" the source material. right? Like, again, if you let's say we'll take the RPG for a minute
Okay.
because that
Like
was a
Old
wide,
Republic.
yeah, well, not even the Old Republic, just the role playing game they put out.
Okay.
It was wide ranging. It created a universe you could live within. If you take that as your baseline of, well, here's the universe. Now we can focus on 1,000,001 races, 1,000,001 people within those races. Then it wouldn't be hard to write these stories. But the trouble is they won't.
Yeah.
The writers want to stick with the things they know.
Well, that's sort of what I mean by self-limiting, right? Like, it requires expansiveness to be interesting again, I think, and it's not a route that anyone's comfortable with.
Well, the whole problem is we had the expanded universe where people wrote the whole stuff, and now if you try and do anything that even resembles expanded universe, people will just be like, "Oh, you're ripping off the expanded universe."
See,
Like, you can't win.
that's the thing, is that Disney destroyed all the expanded universe stories and only brings those certain things back.
Yeah.
Oh, my dog's going nuts. Bad podcasting.
Jeff, you've been doing horrible podcasting so far. You've
Yeah,
been
what's
doing
the-
your phone. It's been like beeping into the mic. Now your dogs are fighting each other because
Yeah.
you're giving one attention without the other.
Yep.
Even now you're on your phone. That's why you're
Yeah.
saying,
I'm
yeah.
shutting it off now. I'm shutting it off.
He says that.
Yep.
Put it on buzz only.
Yeah.
Oh, now we're just gonna hear it rattle off the table.
That's right. Yeah. No, it's got a rubber backing. It won't rattle off the table.
You're right.
Okay,
It'll
so
just rattle
I
the
think
table.
we've more or less beat the.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
big year for Disney.
We beat the bantha. It's
yeah.
fine.
Blah blah blah. Star Wars sucks. Okay. Anyway, moving on.
Ouch.
I think you're the only one that thinks that.
I know I am the only one that thinks that. No, I actually don't think that. I very much like The Force Awakens, and I'm planning on watching The Last Jedi. I'm just kind of in a media vacuum right now. Like, I don't want to watch. I haven't watched Star Trek Discovery, the latest season, and I'm going to wait till it finishes before I binge it. I haven't watched Last Jedi or any of the Star Wars movies that came after The Force Awakens. I haven't watched. There's other TV shows I've been interested in that I just haven't gone into, and that's because of what we're going to talk about next. Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
So really, that movie has me fucking balled up into a knot. I cannot absorb any other fiction until I get resolution on that fucking plot.
First off, are you still banned from the Marvel subreddit?
I am. I have asked them very nicely once, and they said, we'll wait until after Endgame releases, and then we'll consider it. I was like, okay, that's fair. I'll serve my time.
What did you
I made
do
a
again?
mistake. So what I did was I went to post a text post with a link to a Mashable article about some spoilers in Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And I accidentally, without thinking, I was distracted between doing two things, and I accidentally put the first line of the title or of the text as the title, which contained a spoiler, which is against the rules.
Oh, okay.
Results in an automatic ban. And I just clicked submit after coming back from the washroom, and I didn't think, oh fuck, I forgot to change that, because I recognized that it was there. I knew it was there. I knew I had to make the mistake, and I switched them up. And I was like, fuck, I got to put a new title in. But by the time I came back, I forgot, and I just clicked submit, and that was it. So
This is
anyway,
the problem with shits.
it happens. Whatever. Yeah, I am. But anyway, Avengers Endgame trailer number 2, which is not the Super Bowl spot. We're talking about the new trailer number 2. That's not so new, but new enough that it kept me interested.
It's got a handful of news bits.
Yeah. So once again, it starts with Tony on the ship. Just I give viewers an outline for those who haven't seen it.
Okay.
So it starts with Tony, presumably on the ship, monologuing again about how he loves Pepper and how he wanted to pull off one more miracle. Then it goes to Captain America, but not Captain America. It's actually Peggy Carter, presumably old Peggy Carter, who's on her deathbed, talking about the best we can do is to start again, and just another monologue about how things are fucked up. All the while they're showing footage from the original movies. They do the same thing with Thor. They leave out the Hulk, of course, because they can't really do his
anything.
movie because Ed Norton's face is plastered all over it. But they just have a little retrospective. Then you see brief shots of Hawkeye teaching his presumably daughter to shoot a bow and arrow. You see Scott Lang being particularly aghast by all the missing persons posters on a fucking telephone pole. And once again, don't get a lot of new details. But the big one, I guess what will start the conversation, is we finally see Tony in the brand new Avengers uniform, as the lot of them are walking in the airplane hangars, presumably a hangar of some kind.
Yeah.
The Avengers hangar, yeah.
Yeah, and there is Tony Stark with them. Although he is suited up in the new Avengers suit, you do not see any of the Iron Man regalia. Not even his portable fucking nano thingy me jiggy.
Okay. So I've got this to throw your way. Do you think that them adding Tony is a misdirect?
That would be bold. What a bold move, Cotton. Oh man, because shit in the Marvel trailers has always been known to just be like that one, like in Captain Marvel, for example, in the Captain Marvel trailer. And we'll talk about more about Captain Marvel in a bit. In the Captain Marvel trailer, you recall, she has that one line where she says, "I'm not going to fight your war. I'm going to end it." Never happens in the movie. Never says that once. She says things similar to it, implies it a lot. Never says that. And that's like the iconic moment in the trailer where you're like, you're supposed to be. I mean, I don't think it was very effective. That's the moment you're supposed to be like, yeah, fucking yeah. But it never actually happened. So I think it's possible, but I just think there's, it would be too silly to leave Stark out of the movie until close to the end. So I think he does show up on Earth rather fast, and I think that
Do you think it happens in the first half hour?
Hour, I would say. First hour.
Okay,
How long is Endgame set to go?
3.
3?
Okay, so why I think this might be a misdirect is I agree. I think it would happen in like the first, like just past the first half hour mark, maybe somewhere in the first, like just past half an hour, but before an hour. And the point is that Feige has also said any footage that he's giving you is only from the first 15 to 20 minutes of the movie. So that means either Stark is saved in the first 15 to 20 minutes of the movie, or it's a misdirect, or he's giving a misdirect.
Fair
or
enough.
Could it not be just like a flashback sort of scenario? Like they're sort of suiting up, and then all of a sudden it flashes back to Tony. He's doing his stuff. Then you see everybody sort of getting ready, gearing out, and then flashing back to him getting saved, etc., etc.
I'm gonna pose a theory to you that I read. I thought was very interesting, very intriguing. Would be a very bold plot device if they took this turn. But the rumor, this theory that's been propagating on the internet is that the Captain America that you see without his beard and the Tony Stark that you see in that trailer are actually versions of themselves from the past that they go and yank out of the past to help them in the future. And that Tony, in the first 15 minutes of the film, actually does die on the ship. And Nebula's stranded. So Nebula gets herself back, and they go get an old Tony with Scott Lang's technology. And an old Captain America, for some reason, that I haven't really determined
hold on.
yet.
Would that be the old pre-Iron Man Tony? Or
No, that would be post Avengers 1 Tony.
Okay.
But pre-Avengers 2 Tony.
Yeah, because of the footage that was released way back when, the footage, the pictures of them on set where it looks like the Battle of New York taking place.
I
So that's what people are inferring. They're just like, they have those cool watches on that might be linked to the quantum technology that Scott Lang is using, and he's there with them. Maybe he pulls back Cap and Iron Man from then.
So like post shawarma, everyone's been
Post
eating.
shawarma, maybe. Yeah?
So I disagree with this theory, because the one main plot element is that would mean everything Doctor Strange did in Infinity War was for naught.
Why?
That's not true.
No, that's not true. Maybe he knew this is the only way that could happen.
But if Tony Stark was going to die on a ship versus Tony Stark dying to Thanos, Doctor Strange didn't have to give Thanos the stone at all. Right? Like,
unless they do pull a version of Stark that's older than that.
No, but what I'm getting
But
at
how
is
would he be older?
they would have gone back in time to get that Stark anyway. So the present Stark has no use.
Maybe he provides a use in the first 15 or 20 minutes, i.e. gives Nebula a way home, sends Nebula with some amount of information.
He's on a ship, like, alone, you know?
But that's the thing, right? Maybe it's just he has to go off and send a message. Everybody thinks it's fine, and then the ship breaks down.
Yeah. you know what I think, though? Honestly, like my own personal feeling is that it's not going to be that complicated. I think what's actually going to happen is the first 15 minutes of the film is going to be all Iron Man and Nebula. That's what I think.
Well, if Nebula gets home to Earth, there was only really one ship, the Milano or whatever
Or
the
the
replacement
Benatar,
was.
it's called. The second version
Sorry,
of it.
yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
meant. Like whatever the replacement was.
Yeah.
God, Doug.
Dog.
Sorry.
It's like you haven't watched the Marvel movies.
What was I thinking? So, like, the Benatar is really the only ship there.
Yeah.
It's flyable.
No, other than they still do have some of the they
still
have
the
Hulk,
alien-
the ship that Hulk went to Ragnarok on, or into
No, but on
Asgard
Titan?
Didn't they? No,
No,
They-
Asgard
no,
blew up.
No. They do. If you recall, at the end of Thor Ragnarok, the ship that escaped with the Asgardians had the sex ship strapped on top of it.
Okay. But what I'm saying is on Titan. Where these two
Ships
are
on
now
Titan.
stranded-
Oh yeah, sorry. I misunderstood what you're saying.
No, yeah.
terms
I
of
was
ships-
saying there's lots of ships.
In terms of ships they have control and possession of as a
Yeah.
team.
Yeah, they have lots of them.
Yeah, they have.
But
a
I mean,
few.
like on Titan to get back to Earth.
Presuming they don't have old Titanese ships that are in the dirt.
But I mean, that makes sense to why.
Like Titan's a ruined planet.
Yeah.
You can't recall.
I
it.
mean, and the only.
But
other
Tony
ship
makes
that-
garbage into weapons.
But like, so he's got a planet of like those donut ships that he got there on.
yeah.
But
right.
the only one that we know of, he crashed, and he needed multiple people to help it go.
Right, but he can salvage, is what
Yeah,
we're
okay.
getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my point was, if Nebula's getting home to Earth, because don't we see her in the little walkthrough?
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, we know she's there.
But Nebula's home isn't Earth.
No,
Nope.
but Tony's is, and he's like, I got to go get people's. We can probably take this guy.
But what's Nebula's motivation at this point? Like, does she
Revenge?
even for what? Like, does she even care at this point?
Well, she wants to kill Thanos still.
She's always wanted to
Still,
kill.
I
To
guess.
quote Guardians 1, I will help you eliminate 1,000 planets if it means I can kill Thanos. That's what she tells to Ronan the Accuser when he finally takes the Power Stone and attaches it to his big fucking penis compensator.
Yeah.
So
And Thanos did torture the shit out of her for an untold number of.
I think that's a motivation enough.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, okay, but like to help Tony, like
Sure, why not?
No, but maybe he promises her something else. It's just like your best shot at killing Thanos is to come with me.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to
Or
it.
it could be like, I guarantee you, you will be the one who gets to slit his throat, or some
Yeah.
ridiculous statement that we all know Tony knows he can't back up, but is just good enough that she will accept.
Yeah. Maybe. But anyway.
so yeah, I don't believe that is old Tony stuff.
Okay, no, I don't either. But I thought I'd mention it.
As for the chess thing, he's got the nanotech. He said in Infinity War he doesn't need it anymore. It's just a housing unit.
Yep.
So you can put that housing unit anywhere.
Yeah, maybe under his shirt, maybe on his dick.
Do you think maybe that is just nanotech suit?
No, it's just under his.
Just under there.
Yeah.
So like in a ring.
Well,
or in a
also
necklace or
that might
something.
just be the Iron Man armor,
Yeah, it
but
might
it's
be.
like slimmed down because like
Yeah.
you see
Yeah.
Rhodey wearing.
Brody's got his traditional one on.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, we'll just paint your suit on the fucking armor. You fucking noob. Using
Hey.
a Mark III suit.
Yeah.
He likes his suit, man.
Yeah, it's geared out with all kinds of. Well, we were talking about this
Why
before.
he likes it is because America,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's
like big, destroys things.
yeah.
Yep.
Like
His suit is, as we saw in Infinity War, is more suited for aerial combat, bombing missions. Like that's what he does. He's
Yeah.
he's a tank in the air,
He gets
as
in
opposed to
there.
Stark, who's the hand-to-hand guy in the air. It's like he's meant to.
okay, it's
Well, I mean-
it's the difference between like a monster truck and like a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
I was gonna compare it more to like a hammer and a scalpel.
It's the like in the upcoming movie with The Rock and Jason Statham. That's exactly what it is. Like
Yep. But anyway, so okay, all right. Moving on. Other trailer elements that are worthy of discussion.
Yep.
Well, the only other. Well, I mean, I wouldn't
There's
say
a
only other. One. There's a
few.
couple of points in there that I guess are worth noting. But
Hawkeye's alive.
Hawkeye's
Yeah.
alive, and,
And
obviously
Mohawk.
And like
pissed off.
but like, meh. Does anyone really care?
Yeah.
Shoots a bow. Get out of here.
We see Ant-Man in action, jumping off the head of a pencil into what looks like a fire. Don't know what that's about. But I'm sure we'll know. It's hard to
Maybe.
infer
We
anything
don't
from
know.
that, or the scene where Captain America's all dirty and strapping his shield to his wrist. wearing what looks like his original uniform, or maybe the helmet looks like the original uniform.
What they've shown for the costume stuff is it's like a new uniform, but it looks like the scales of the very, very original.
Yeah.
So it's very retro-esque.
It's modern,
Yeah.
like it's super modern, but it looks very retro to the 70s one.
Yeah. All right. But the other big notable, if we're being honest, and this ties into what will be eventually our discussion about Captain Marvel, is the end scene where Brie Larson makes her first appearance in an Endgame trailer. They had been very coy about not confirming or denying if she was even in the movie up until now. Everyone kind of knew she was going to be, obviously, but they never confirmed it. Never. But there was, everyone had known she had been on the set and she'd already filmed her scenes for Endgame before she did Captain Marvel. And there she was. So the scene, just to describe it, people who have not seen it, but we recommend that you do. Thor puts his hand beside her ear and summons Stormbreaker from behind her. The axe, of course, snaps into his hand. He looks at her ominously. She returns the favor, and before finally cracking a little smirk, and then he is at ease and turns to Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, and says, "I like this one," and that's the whole scene.
Yeah.
And the reason that scene's important is because we know as viewers, foreshadowing here, that she has been billed as the most powerful character to date that we have seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And Thor, of course,
before Captain Marvel,
the
most.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
arguably the most powerful anyway.
Well, I'm gonna say, like, he has gained a lot of power with Stormbreaker.
No, but he's
Yeah.
arguably the most powerful because, like, in Infinity
Yeah.
War, he withstood a sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is my point. Like, he gained a lot of power.
He leveled up several times.
Yeah.
In his last
In Ragnarok,
3 movies.
since Ragnarok,
Yeah.
he's leveled.
No, even Thor: Dark World, if you think about it.
That happened?
Yeah, no, I know it wasn't a good movie, but in Thor: Dark World, you have to remember he did take the full brunt of an Infinity Stone and survived. Right? He was trapped inside the Reality Stone with Malekith and fought him there. So like, he's been through some stress. Is what I'm saying. He probably leveled up there.
Okay.
And then that was level 2, and then level 3 came by when the lightning and Hela on Ragnarok going off, and then level 4 he takes the sun to the chest and lives. So he's definitely leveled up now, which was why I think that puts him at number 1. Simply because the Hulk is currently amidst a character transition. I think when Hulk levels up in the next movie, which we still have no idea if it's going to happen yet, I think that might even the playing field a little bit. When Hulk has a brain, that's a deadly combination.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole scene was about Thor and Captain Marvel meeting for the first time, and it was very good. I quite enjoyed it.
Because, like, at the end of the Captain Marvel movie, that post-credit scene
was...
We're
about to spoil it for Doug. Doug has not seen Captain Marvel yet.
It's fine.
He's at a disadvantage. He said he doesn't mind. Full disclosure, we're going to talk spoilers here.
Yeah.
He said he doesn't mind.
I have a bad memory, so I won't remember this when we go see it like this weekend.
You will remember this, though, because the end scene... Well, let's just
I
talk about the
won't.
end scene now, because it ties into the trailer.
That's why I wanted to talk about it.
So, Greg, give us a summary.
Okay, so it was just the preamble to right before... Like, Jeff described... You saw the scene of the trailer, how Thor's basically in front of her.
Yep.
Carol Danvers is in that same spot. And they're looking at the pager. The Avengers are looking at the pager that, at the end of Infinity War, Nick Fury texted her or sent the page out for her. And apparently at the end scene, they're like, okay, this pager's been activated. It's been 3 days now, and it just suddenly shut off. And they're like, well,
Stop transmitting.
Yeah, well, what did you do?
Nothing.
Well, I didn't do anything. What did you do? I was in the other room.
Yeah.
Where were you? I was in the bathroom. I didn't do anything.
And they were like, is it the battery?
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not the battery. Battery was replaced.
And then suddenly they turn around and Brie Larson's there.
Oh.
And they all kind of like...
Keep in mind, Doug, I'm just going to set the scene for you a little bit. This is behind Black Widow, Captain America, both of which have enhanced hearing, probably.
Yeah.
and Hulk's in the room too.
No, it was Rhodey.
Oh, sorry, Rhodey. Rhodey's in the background, and I think that might have been it. It was just the three of them.
Yeah, it was just the three of them.
Banner was there as well because they did show him for a minute.
But I think he was in the
in
other
distance.
room. He was in the other room with the missing people floating images.
Right.
Anyway.
And then she just shows up there,
She
full
appears.
uniform, a little messy looking.
No, she was wearing regular clothes, just almost. No, she's like in the scene.
No, dude. Do you really not remember?
Was she in full uniform?
She was in full uniform.
You know, we
Slightly
could probably
different.
hit YouTube.
You can
and get
YouTube it. It's up. But I assure you, she was in the Captain Marvel get up. Difference is, though, she had, people have noticed this, she had gold shoulder pads instead of red. So I don't know what that's about. Maybe a fuck up.
Oh my god.
But yeah, she was in uniform and looked a little haggard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she looked like almost like she'd come in from a storm and dried off, but like her makeup was still a little runny.
Yeah.
And stuff, and she just said, "Where's Fury?"
Where's Fury? 2 words. And then in the theater, I fucking came. I was sitting next to Kate, and my wife Kate, and I was just like, oh god, so close. I want to see that movie.
Where's Fury?
Yeah, which was badass. It's just such a great, and you know they had to do it that way.
So you know my theory, right? That Captain America is actually a Skrull.
Oh yes, I do.
You remember that theory?
I do.
Captain Marvel helped progress my theory.
You make a very interesting point. You do make a very interesting point. Actually, now that I think about that. Okay, so Doug, big spoiler here.
Thanks.
So the Skrulls are the Jews. That's
Wow. Little hurtful.
Yeah, that's
Just
okay. Flesh this out before I get
flesh it
super
out.
offended.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's the truth.
Yeah.
The Skrulls in this movie are the Jews, as in it turns out the Kree are actually persecuting them and chasing them across the galaxy.
Okay.
And they're looking for a home. That's sort of the twist that you get middle of the movie.
Right, they're
So-
not actually not the evil.
they're just trying to hide.
Unlike in comic books where they're an evil
Yeah.
like race.
Yeah.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe has set it up so that they're just like
Victims.
us. They're victims though,
Mm.
and the Kree have been relentlessly persecuting and trying to exterminate them from the universe.
Does
Which-
the Kree have a good reason for that?
Well, we have a good...
No one actually knows.
Okay.
No
so
one
it's not
knows,
really
but
covered.
the Kree have been set up to be assholes. Like no one really believed that the Kree were good guys going into this movie.
The thing is that you always hear the Kree, but you hear it from the Kree's perspective all the time.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it's kind of like if you were in Nazi Germany and you were like a young child growing up, you would hear it from the Nazis' perspective that, look, all these people are bad and we're just wiping them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
So
a-
throughout the Marvel Universe, we've always been seeing things from the Kree perspective.
Yeah. But like they really are analogous to the Jews if you think about it. Like even this down to the stereotypes. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, the Skrulls are shape-shifting. Fucking, they have horns. They only pull them
Yes.
out when they're about to steal your money. It's like all these like really vicious stereotypes about the Jews that the Germans propagated during World War II are like line for line applied to the Skrulls by the Kree in this movie. But you kind of know, like, okay, going into Captain Marvel, I kind of had that impression that's the. I didn't know that the Skrulls were going to be good guys, but I definitely knew the Kree were going to be bad. Obviously, because there's no story if the Kree are really the good guys. And we knew about this from Guardians, right? It's just like the Kree, there was Ronan, who was a fanatical, and they were like, well, we don't have anything to do with him. Whatever he does is his business. He's not acting on behalf of the Kree government, but like secretly it was like wink, wink.
It was a bit of a twist for me because I was going in with the comic book knowledge of
Right.
the Skrulls being evil, and I know there was a big story plot in Marvel called Secret Invasion.
Right.
Where the Skrulls had infiltrated high levels of government, infiltrated other superheroes, and stuff like that, and took over and created deception and deceit among all the ranks of all the political powers in the world, and among like the superhero political powers.
Yep.
The Skrull were able to shapeshift into the superheroes and mimic their powers.
Yep.
So it was going to be one of those things that I was like, okay, well, obviously
you never know
they're-
who's who.
Yeah. And there was a bit of that in this movie, of course, but no, they turned out that they're not the bad guys at all, and that's Brie Larson's whole revelation to the film. But anyway, so that's the end scene from Captain Marvel. Relates, of course, very closely to the trailer. And once again, I think that fits into the 15-minute scene, the 15-minute clause that Kevin Feige laid out about trailer footage.
Yeah.
Because so from what I can infer, the first 15 minutes of the movie, if that is true, are Tony saves himself with Nebula's help on the ship, and the rest of the team reviews the situation in the lab. Scott Lang comes to the front door, gets integrated, while simultaneously within that span, Tony somehow gets back. And that's where the actual movie starts, which is crazy when you think about it. That's 2 hours and 45 minutes. We have no idea what the fuck happens. But anyway.
What was your overall impression of Captain Marvel?
Let's go on to Captain Marvel. I'm going to quote my wife. I think she summed it up best. When she watched it, she said, and she's not really a fan of these movies, but I've forced her to watch them all. And she said, I don't know, like the first 45 minutes were really boring. And then the last half or so was pretty normal for a Marvel film. And I think that's about right.
I thought the movie was good.
Yeah, good. I'd call it good.
So like what, a 7 out of 10?
It's in the Ant-Man range.
Okay.
Yeah, about there. I think it's probably on my list. I would put it a sliver above Iron Man 3 and a touch behind Guardians 2. You know?
Yeah, like it's not like one of those upper echelon like Ragnarok level
or Black Panther or Infinity War.
Yeah, it's not on that level, but
I mean, for an origin story,
regarding all the hate towards Brie Larson stuff, I don't think I think it was fine. Like there was nothing.
There's no overt feminism in it.
No, there's nothing untoward regarding it. It was one of those things that like I thought the movie was okay. The things I didn't like about the movie had nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
Yep. The things I did like about the movie were actually things she did.
Yep.
I mean, like her lines in the movie never seemed to be outside of her character.
Yep.
Like she wouldn't say like, bust a gut laughing lines that Scott Lang would throw out or Tony Stark would throw out.
Yeah.
But like her humor in it would be like Samuel L. Jackson would like sing a few lines from a song and she'd be like, "No, I don't know that song. Keep singing it. Keep singing it." Okay. Just to kind of embarrass Nick Fury, like super SHIELD director.
Was he SHIELD director in that movie
No,
as well?
he was just like a regular. He was like Hawkeye level.
Oh, so he was an agent, just something special,
right? Yeah. Things I didn't like about the movie were how there was a few scenes where they crammed 90s music in that were kind of unneeded. At first, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is awesome! All this 90s music is going with the movie, and it's set in the 90s. This makes a lot of sense." And then there was that garbage song.
Yeah. Only happy when it rains.
And I don't mean like the song was garbage.
No,
it was sung by the band Garbage.
Yeah.
There was a fight scene that had that, and it's like the song just didn't really fit the scene.
I thought the Just a Girl fight scene with Just a Girl by Gwen Stefani.
Is that the one I'm thinking of? Maybe
when he's fighting at the end and just taking on all the Kree force.
Oh, then
no, and it's just in the room and they're breaking a bunch of stuff. It was just dark and you couldn't really tell what was going on. I thought that was like the worst scene in the movie, honestly.
Yeah.
It was not very inspiring.
When she was fighting like the other special force, like Kree special forces people on like the bridge of that ship.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's the one I didn't like.
Yeah. They were playing Just a Girl by No Doubt. That was the song that was playing.
Yeah, I remember that was a major discussion point for a lot of articles, which is like
that was
it's
so feministy. Well, I didn't care about the girl thing. I just cared that it was
like the song didn't fit the scene.
Didn't fit the scene, and it was very dark. It was very poorly shot. I found, like you couldn't really tell what was going on. You weren't really impressed. Like I can tell the difference. Like some action scenes are just a blur, and some of them are really well choreographed. Like when I first saw Legolas sliding down a shield at Helm's Deep in the Two Towers, I was like, that is some serious shit. Every move in that fucking shot, you could see, you could tell it was happening, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Just came together so nicely. But like when it's just a fury of punches and blasts and like you can't really see what's going on, it's like people who can rap really fast.
Yeah.
Like you can rap really fast, that's fine. But if I can't understand the words you're saying, then what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
Right? Like I get it. If I were to slow it down and listen to it, oh yes, you are clearly enunciating those words, but I can't understand it at full speed, so there's no point in doing it. That's what that scene was like to me. It was just this hazard mess. The rest of the movie was fine,
But like
there were
even her
spots.
acting, I liked a lot of her line delivery. There were times she did that smirk,
Yeah.
like, and I really enjoyed it because
Oh,
it
the
fit.
Stan Lee scene.
The Stan Lee smirk
Oh
was
my God.
amazing.
I got a little emotional when his cameo played, especially after I saw Kevin Smith's on his YouTube channel. You should watch it if you haven't seen it yet. I forgot to mention that. Oh, the dogs. My wife's home. The dogs are going to go nuts.
It's fine.
Anyway, so Kevin Smith said he had a very emotional story to tell about that scene because he's involved in it, of course.
Yeah.
So Stan Lee, I'm going to ruin it for Doug. Stan Lee is sitting there on the bus, and he's Stan Lee. He's himself. And we know this because he's reading the Mallrats script and practicing his line from the movie Mallrats that he was in.
Okay.
Yeah. In 1995.
Yeah, so we know it's Stanley.
So apparently Kevin Feige called up Kevin Smith and told him that that's what the end scene was going to look like. And apparently Kevin Smith started crying. He was just like, he's just like, I put Stan Lee in a movie 23 years ago for the first time, and 23 years later, he returned the favor.
Yeah.
And I was just like, ugh. So yeah, it was
really
a
hurts
lot.
the
Well, it was
feels.
one of those things that also Kevin Smith is now officially part of the Marvel Universe as Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
So,
Fair enough.
but yeah, one of her smirks, her big smirk, comes in that scene where she just looks down at him, lowers the paper, and then just gives him a smile and keeps walking. Like it was very intentional. You could tell that it was their nod to Stan Lee. Like,
Yeah.
But it was very nice. I thought it was well done.
It was also one of those things, though, that like because she was walking through the train to find which one was a Skrull, because a Skrull shapeshifted to a random person on the train,
Okay.
Yeah.
and so that's why she like pushed down the paper that Stan Lee was reading, and then realized it was kind of just gave him a smirk, and then like lift the paper back up.
It was a very the one above all kind of moment, I thought. You know what I mean? Like it's like
It was the closest thing to fourth wall breaking without fourth wall breaking.
yeah. It's like
Because
like
that
she
smirk,
knew.
that's what I mean. Like it was
She
that
knew.
smirk.
Yeah, and like that's what I'm saying. The one above all, like it's kind of like the god of the Marvel universe was sitting there in a chair, and she just for a moment instinctively recognized it was him and kept walking. Right. That's kind of the vibe I got from it. So.
Although that would actually be amazing, which I think they kind of nodded at one of the Guardians movies where it was just him sitting
On the rock talking about his experiences as different
to
people.
the Guardians.
And he's referring specifically to the scene in Iron Man 3 where Tony Stank, he's the delivery guy, he's the FedEx guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, in this one time I was a FedEx guy. And then it's like, oh yeah, he's referencing that scene. That was when
Actually, I
it was
think
Civil War. It was when Rhodey broke his back.
Yeah.
Yeah, Civil War.
He mentioned a few of the scenes he was in.
Yeah.
But like
I remember
that would be awesome if Stan Lee was actually like the god among.
Yeah, the one above all. Like just showing up random places, saying hi. Not like in the comics. The one above all in the comics is like it's like Io from Forgotten Realms. He's like an overlord kind of guy that is largely uninvolved, and if I'm just remembering my lore correctly, it was the tribunal. What are they called? The
Guardian?
no, it's called the something tribunal. Acts as his judge and jury for cosmic matters. But so he never gets involved directly. He just likes to play around.
Yeah.
But anyway, great scene, definitely.
They were talking also about how Captain Marvel, the fallout by the end of the movie of Captain Marvel, is what led the Guardians to have their movie.
Yeah, you're right.
Because essentially what happened was the Kree are always seen as like pure.
Yep.
And have zero deceit among their ranks. And then what happens is like based on the stuff that happened in Captain Marvel, you could tell that they were that there was deceit among the ranks because they were like some people were sheltering Skrulls and things like that.
Yeah.
And then that would cause such a fallout to happen, like government revolution, and then some of the Kree would go crazy and keep that fanaticism, which is what Ronan the Accuser ended up becoming.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's why you see him at the very beginning of Guardians 1 killing like another Kree.
Yep.
Fair enough.
No, it's true. Ronan the Accuser's role in that movie was very limited and almost not important, but it was nice to see him there, as well as what's his
Coulson?
No, Digimon. My wife calls him Digimon. That's his real name. Digimon. The black dude who was in Guardians of the Galaxy at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
And he was there. You know the black dude who's like Star-Lord? Like, who's
Who?
Star-Lord? Who?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's a part of the... he was serving Ronan the Accuser in Guardians.
Yeah.
He's actually part of the Kree Star Force, along with Jude Law's character at the beginning of Captain Marvel.
Which Jude Law's character they never actually revealed, because there's two characters in Captain Marvel's history that he could be.
Yeah.
But they only ever refer to him as Star Commander.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so you don't know which one of those two people he was.
Yeah.
Because they only referred to him as a title, and none of those I think both of those characters in the comic books held that title.
Yep.
Did they?
Yep. No, I know what he's saying. They don't really
It
refer
could have
to
been
him.
Mr. Marvel,
Oh, yeah.
or
okay.
it could have been like another person, and both of them at one point were Star Commanders.
Oh, okay.
So they only ever referred to Jude Law's character as Star Commander. So he still could be one
Either
or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I thought Brie Larson was very good. I think she's going to
Yes.
make a great addition to the team. I just think that you have to judge that movie in the context of origin stories. And when you rank them against the other origin stories,
It seems quite strong.
it's pretty good. I think in that context, it's definitely better than Thor 1. It's probably better than Captain America 1. It's not as good as Iron Man, not as good as Doctor Strange. Black Panther didn't really have an origin story, so you can't judge that.
Well, I mean, Black Panther is...
Civil War, he was waiting to debut, right?
That's true.
So you can't really call that an origin story.
He kind of had one in the Black Panther movie because it showed how he became Black Panther.
Sort of, yeah.
But that took like 15 minutes total.
Yeah.
Okay, question. What did you think of Sam Jackson losing his eye? I'll tell you right now, didn't like it.
No, I hated it.
All right,
I hated it. It was
spoiler
so
time.
stupid. In fact, I think that whole plot line is not good. The fucking cat is not good.
No.
All right, so spoiler me.
Okay, so the
I
cat is
assume
not
the
a cat.
Obviously, the cat's not a cat.
The cat's not a cat. It's something called a
A flurkin.
A flurkin. And
Okay.
it looks like a cat.
It was set up as a comedy element in the Captain Marvel comic book.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was first discovered by Rocket Raccoon because Captain Marvel was doing whatever with Rocket Raccoon. Rocket Raccoon saw the cat, immediately started to attack the cat, and you kind of laugh and you're just like, oh, it's a raccoon versus a cat, blah, 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 Rocket, up to that shit again. And then the cat goes like crazy and these tentacles come out and stuff.
Okay.
And why the Flurkin was considered one of the most dangerous creatures in the universe is its stomach is a pocket dimension.
Oh.
So all these like octopus like tentacles, it's got like a bunch of them that come out of the mouth, can stretch, grab people, like throw them around, and then devour them.
Yeah.
And it goes into a pocket dimension, so they can't even communicate out or do whatever. That's why it's so dangerous.
Yeah.
Traps your soul eternally.
Wow.
So like that's why it was seen as a comedy element originally in the comic books, and they kind of did the same sort of thing in the Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Except certain parts of it were just not good. Like, so the way it started, I was okay with. Aside from the fact that it doesn't actually explain how the fucking cat gets there. Like, it just shows up in the hallway. I didn't understand that. Was S.H.I.E.L.D. holding it? It wasn't Captain Marvel's. Think about that. Did it actually?
No, it was what's her name's cat? The woman who had like created the engine.
Mar-Vell's cat.
Yeah.
And it was at the Shield base because
She was working at the Shield base in the mountain. That's where
I see.
That's where they found it.
Ah, so it was in the property of Shield. Shield was holding the cat.
The cat was just like around the facility,
Okay.
but it was like her testing facility.
I got it. And it just happened to show up at that one time where they're in the hallway.
Yeah.
I don't know. I found it a little bit shoehorned. But anyway, and yeah, it turns out their cat's really affectionate with Sam Jackson. They have a good friendship. But then in this random scene at the end, he grabs the cat and he's getting extra cutesy with it.
Mm-hmm.
And the cat's just had enough and scratches his eye. And that's how he loses his eye. Because at first it just looks like a normal scratch, then it gets infected and gets worse, and then his eye doesn't work anymore. That's it. It's not the injury at the beginning where he's got the stitches.
So yeah, what happens is like the thing is throughout the movie, like Sam Jackson's constantly like stuff's happening to his one eye, and you're like, oh, is that it? No, it's not. Okay, his eye's still fine. And, oh, is that one it? No, his eye's still fine. Oh, no, his eye's still fine. And then the cat scratches him, and
That's it.
that's what does it.
Yeah.
That said, when you look at the scene from Civil War, those scratches are way deeper,
Yeah.
like look way more fierce than a cat scratch.
But that at least fits. It's because it's not a cat.
Sure, but like, okay, and then like Coulson walks into the room afterwards when Fury has like a patch on, like it's not his normal eye patch. It's just like a metal plate thing with tape on it. And so Coulson's just kind of like pumping his tires a little bit, like, sir, I've heard reports that you lost your eye because the Kree had you, were torturing you and you weren't giving any information. And Jackson's like, I neither confirm nor deny that story. Even though he got it from a cat. That said, I would have preferred if he lost his eye to something incredibly cool like that. Like, because he said in Captain America that he lost it because the last time he trusted someone, he lost his eye. So I'm thinking maybe it could have, but like maybe it could have been something like he trusted someone and then he got captured and tortured and they betrayed him and he lost his eye. I would have preferred either something super cool like that or something completely way more ridiculous than him getting scratched in the eye by a cat.
It was neither too far to be funny or too
serious to be cool.
Good. Yeah, it was kind of in between.
And because it was in between, made it like lackluster.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, that's not.
Who knows? In a future movie, maybe the scars get deeper for some other reason. But
no, the scars are deep. I think that's justifiable because it's not a cat. That's the thing you have to remember. It looks like a cat scratch at first, but then it starts swelling up by the end scene in the movie, and it's like looks really just bad and swollen. So you get the impression that, like, and everyone knows as soon as he gets scratched, the Skrulls that are in eye shot are just like, oh no, like they know he's going to lose his eye at that moment. So it fits. It's not that it doesn't fit. It doesn't flow. I just think it's
just not great.
Kind of uninspired.
The Tesseract. I didn't like it in the movie.
Yeah, and it kind of raises a lot of interesting questions too. It's just like
it's because like when you try to track where the Tesseract has gone in the Marvel universe, it started Captain America 1.
Yes.
It
in
ended,
the ice.
Yeah.
No. So in Captain America 1, it was in the church. And they stormed the church to take it out.
They got it, but then at the end of the film, it's in the ice. It's in the sea.
It's in the Antarctica.
So no. What happens is it melts through the ship in Captain America's ship when he's going down to the ice and falls into the ocean.
Yeah.
Howard Stark then finds the Tesseract.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it becomes Shield property.
Yep.
And then at some point, it appears in a stealth floating Kree ship orbiting the planet.
Now that's what's not clear.
That's where the gap happens.
No, hold on, maybe not, because there is. I have to remind you that I don't think it's ever really specified what happens to the. First of all, we don't know exactly when Howard Stark finds it.
He finds it on the ocean floor. There's a scene where he's in a little submarine and he finds it.
And it's young Howard.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not remembering that right then. So young Howard finds it.
Yeah.
Somehow it ends up in Shield possession. So that just
he
means-
works for Shield at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
So Shield has possession of it. Then it appears in.
So they lose that at some point.
Something
How?
happens. There's a gap, and now it's on board
A
a
Kree ship.
stealth Kree ship orbiting the planet,
Yeah.
powering whatever.
Well, maybe they'll explain that in the future movie. That's all you
There-
gotta
but
hope
like,
for.
and then from there it goes back into Shield because the
Yeah,
cat,
and then Loki steals it, and
the cat, they need to save the Tesseract. The cat open and eats the Tesseract.
Okay.
Right, puts it in a pocket dimension,
Yep.
and then the post credit scene, like the very very end credit scene, the cat's on Fury's desk and coughs it up like a hairball.
Okay.
yeah, which is a little silly.
It's just, you know how now Marvel does 2 post credit
Yeah, yeah,
scenes.
yeah.
It's the shawarma scene of Captain
Okay.
Marvel.
Yeah, it's the funny one that's supposed to be jokey.
Yeah. So it horked up the
The
Yeah.
Tesseract.
Tesseract,
Yeah,
which explains why it's around for the
Yeah,
original
like,
Avengers.
I-
and then,
I'm okay
and then
with
Loki
that.
steals it, and then
Yeah.
Thor gets it back, and then Loki steals it again,
yeah.
and then that's where Avengers happens.
But it's the question of just how did it go from
yeah.
Shield owns it to now the Kree have it.
I'm okay with that because it just means
Mm.
that they're going to have to explain it. And that's fine.
But they didn't even have to have the Tesseract involved at all.
No, but well,
did it have
maybe
any
they did.
purpose?
We'll see. I'm willing to reserve judgment because maybe there's a reason that they need another character like Vision who has a personal relationship to one of the stones, and she gets her powers from it. So the power
Okay.
that is in this engine of a ship that explodes that she was test piloting is what gives her powers. So it blows
Okay.
up, and then the space stone's energy flows into her, but it's only a portion. If you remember from Captain America 1, the scientist guy, the little dude, was using the space stone to power all these weapons, but it doesn't
Yeah.
require the space stone to be there. It's just the source of the power, but the power can be distributed
Yeah.
among a bunch of different items anywhere in the universe, because I guess it's because it's the space stone. So that's how she gets her powers. The thing explodes, she absorbs the brunt of it, she lives as a human, by the way. She doesn't have Kree blood at that point, and has powers. So she is like Vision to the Mind Stone, she is to the Space Stone.
Okay.
And to a degree, like Strange is to the Time Stone,
Yeah.
to a degree. It's not quite the same, but similar. And even further stretching it a bit, the way Star-Lord is to the Power Stone.
Yeah.
After he holds it in his hand and
Which
absorbs
one's
its
left?
power. The two that aren't accounted for, don't have a relationship with a character, I think, are the Reality Stone. Again, Thor was in it for a while.
Yeah. So he.
But
But I don't think anything really happened to that.
and then there's the Soul Stone.
Which nobody knows what
Gamora
the fuck's.
might have.
Gamora
the best
has probably the
Yeah.
strongest attachment too.
Yeah. So I think that might be for a reason. So I'm willing to reserve judgment and
Okay.
see what happens.
Other theories are that the end of Guardian 2, they showed the capsule to Adam Warlock,
Yes.
that he is going to play a part.
Yeah. I sincerely
He-
hope so.
He played a big role in the original Infinity Gauntlet comic
Yeah.
book series,
I
so
remember.
the likelihood is he will also play a big part in this one.
I
Does that
really
mean that
hope
we'll
so. Oh, that would
Does
be
that
so
mean that
good.
we're distributing the stones, and that would go back to everybody having the tie? Therefore, you get this stone, you get this stone.
But it
since you
would
already
be a
have the
big reveal
powers.
too, because whoever got cast for that role has been very tight-lipped.
Yeah.
No one even knows.
What,
Yep.
the Adam Warlock role?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I sincerely hope they go that route. That would be amazing. And I hope they keep it secret even through the press junkets. Like, don't even, whoever the actor is, don't trot him out. Just until the film's released, you don't know who this guy is. And then,
Admittedly,
There he
that's going to
is.
be very hard to do with our current world.
No, you could do that. You could easily do that.
I didn't say it's
Like, they just-
impossible. It's just hard.
It could have been Brad Pitt.
that would have been amazing.
You know what I mean? Like, it could have just been Brad Pitt, and like he could just like not go to any of the press junkets or
Yeah.
do any of the
Yeah.
shebang of going to all the late night shows and promoting. Does
Right.
zero promoting, and he would probably actually be totally on board with that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're going to
Well,
be in
quite
the
a few
biggest
stars will.
movie of like the past decade, and you don't have to do any of the press for it.
Yep.
And he's like, okay.
No, don't get me wrong. Pretty much any star you gave that option to would leap at it with every possibility on hand.
Anyway, we got to move on. We're already over the hour mark. One
Oh.
last question I want to pose to everybody before we close it off. Shazam, April 6th. Anyone care?
Not particularly.
Maybe it's filmed in Toronto.
I might go see it.
It's at
I might go see it.
they're
I'm
doing
not-
Danforth Tech. That's where his school is Danforth Tech.
Yeah.
I'm not
Other scenes of
super-
the station were Runnymede Station.
Yeah.
nice.
The
But
trailers do look better than
Yeah.
other DC movies. I am impressed. I hope that it's indicative of things to come.
Sure.
You know what? Actually, I don't think I'm gonna go see it. Like, the more I think about it, the more I have that deep sinking pit in my stomach that the trailer has already shown a lot of the best scenes.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's where I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
Like,
All
I
right.
feel like I'm gonna be Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, I think we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think we're good. We're over the hour mark.
Also, sorry, I was thinking about this the other day. Another reason why Justice League sucked is because they had to do origin stories for like 5 of the Justice
Yeah.
League members
Right there.
in the movie.
Yeah. Ugh. And
The
none
only-
of them were Green Lantern.
The only actual
Thankfully.
true origin story that they gave was Man of Steel,
Yeah.
which had its own movie, but like
Yeah.
Batman didn't get one.
Nope. He just was there, which I'm okay. I'm okay with that. That's the better way to do it. Is just don't fuck origin stories. Like, we know how these characters came about. Do it like you did with Spider-Man: Homecoming. Like, yeah, I got bit by a spider. That's it. That's the extent of our knowledge of Peter's beginnings as Spider-Man.
I mean,
he just
for
says
them-
it, and that's it. We don't need to hear the origin story.
I mean, for the most part, you probably know the origin story for Wonder Woman. Maybe not Aquaman, but like Batman, Superman. We know them all.
No,
by
it's
now.
not because of that. They didn't give the Spider-Man origin story because it's been done by Sony 5 other times.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that.
They don't
too.
need to do it again.
No.
But to
right?
that point, though, like, do you need the origin story for Superman / Kal-El?
No,
Like,
but like
we all know it.
I preferred the origin story for like Ant-Man, and I preferred
right.
the origin story for Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was necessary. You can't
Oh.
just have Captain Marvel just be there.
No,
Okay,
you're right.
one
and someone
last-
like Aquaman, I would totally get behind the origin story because necessity.
Okay, one last question I do want to pose to you. I didn't want to forget this one. Of all of the you know how the Marvel Cinematic Movie Universe movies have your main players that appear in the ensemble films, like the Civil War and the Avengers films,
Sure.
and then you have the tertiary characters that only appear in the solo films. For example, Jane, who was Thor's love
Thor's,
interest,
yeah,
never
Natalie
made an
Portman.
Avengers appearance. Pepper up until Infinity War didn't, I
Yep.
think.
No, was she? Oh, that's because there was an issue with Gwyneth Paltrow's contract.
Yeah. So there's a lot of the love interests are left out. We don't get a hell of a lot of people like what's another good example?
Wasp.
Wasp so far. Yeah.
Yeah.
Janet Van Dyne, Hank Pym. Those are another
Yeah.
other two. I'm sure there are some Doctor Strange characters I can't remember at the moment.
Wong's there, but there was
Wong's
also who was that other guy that in Doctor Strange 1 had the boots where he could walk in the air? Who was
Right.
Originally set up as the villain?
Yeah. I
Or
don't
like
remember
a
his name
future
offhand.
villain, and I don't remember his name either.
Yeah, and but so my question is, so we had Wong in Infinity War as a tertiary character.
Theoretically, we had Pepper.
We had Pepper that show up and Happy but only in a deleted scene though.
Yeah.
He wasn't actually in the movie. But which of the tertiary characters are going to appear in Endgame? Do you think? Any wild guesses? I have a few.
I have none offhand. I mean, if they were tertiary up to this point,
I'm still sticking with my theory. Hela might show up.
oh god,
Does Loki count as a tertiary character?
No, he's main. He's a main.
Is he a main?
I think so. Yeah, he's been in 2 Avengers movies, so that counts.
do we get the posse from Ant-Man?
I think we do. Hank Pym, I think, is pivotal near the end. I think
Sure.
he will show up. Or Janet, in particular, with her knowledge of the quantum vortexes, the time vortex, or whatever. I think another good one is the ancient one from Doctor Strange. Tilda Swinton was rumored to be on set of Endgame, so that might happen in a flashback scene at the very least. We already know Crossbones is going to be in Endgame. That's been confirmed.
Is he?
Yep.
I thought he died.
He did.
But
gonna be
it's a flashback.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, to that point, we can have a lot of flashbacks.
Yep. I think, and one that I know is going to be in it because, well, I don't know, but from the rumors seem credible. The kid from Iron Man 3 is going to be grown up, and he's going to be helping.
Okay, what about
that's
Jeff
the worst.
Bridges?
Ooh, that's
From
an
Iron
interesting
Man
one.
1.
That's a nice theory.
Especially if they go back in time.
Yeah.
Yep. Obadiah Slane.
Wow.
That would be quite
That
the
one-
throwback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like
I didn't
that.
even think of that one.
Yeah.
That would be
Jeez.
the first one,
Yeah.
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 Because he was running Stark Industries
Yeah.
while, because Tony might have been in a cave at that point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a drawback.
Or they would do, here's a good one. When they did the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Peggy Carter,
Mm-hmm.
they could get that actress
Yep.
to
who
do
did
the
the
Peggy Carter
series.
back.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think she's gonna be in it. I do.
Because like there was actually a huge petition for a long time
Yeah.
to bring that show back because it
Yeah.
was doing so well,
Yeah.
and it was
Well,
canceled
didn't
for
it
some
leave
reason.
on a cliffhanger as well? Like it didn't. There was no real resolution.
Maybe I didn't watch it.
So
That's
what
probably
about-
why it was
Either.
canceled.
So
But
what about Coulson? Any chance of seeing Coulson?
I hope Coulson's there. He's like my favorite MCU character.
Yeah. The revived Coulson, the one that has never been mentioned in the movies. He just died in the movies, and they never mentioned the fact that he was brought back to life.
Yeah.
They never mentioned
No,
it. Like,
no.
and in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., he like lost his hand. He became like Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
He got a robot hand.
Yep.
Anyway, I guess we're gonna have to wait. That's the end of the show, guys.
All right, later.
Thanks for listening. And
Yeah.
anything to plug?
No, that's
I mean, just my new computer, and that's about it.
He's going to plug in his new computer that I built him, and didn't get to film a video about because we're rather busy these days. But
Yeah. No. Too busy. I get it.
we're
Yeah.
actually thinking about a new format in the coming.
oh yeah, we might
months.
have a show instead of a podcast with cameras and our faces.
Yeah.
Once we go remote, we do it live in my basement right now, but I'm moving away probably, and Greg and Doug are going to remain here. So I think we might remote in once every couple of weeks.
Yeah, it
And,
makes sense.
And everyone gets a cam, and we do a proper show, a web show, maybe live, maybe recorded. I don't know if I can deal with the super chat. We might have to discuss that.
super chat.
You know what
Oh,
I mean?
okay.
Like the
Like
chat
a
at the
chat
side.
outside. Yeah.
So live shows are difficult because they can be disruptive.
You expect people to watch us?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. There's like 5 people who might actually give a fuck.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay.
Anyway, peace out.
It's like Twitch.
It's like Twitch. See you later. 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 See you later.